You are in a path where you are opening up to the idea of God using you, and you're fully giving it all up to God. And that means embracing the hate, embracing people wanting to stay away from you. Nobody wants you around them. It's because you can read them, you're reflecting everything that they're running from. God picks people who are ready to be used, because many are called, few are chosen. And when people are called, they have to make this conscious decision to let go everything of their life that they have known for so many other years. And that also includes everything that makes you happy in the 3D reality, which makes your body happy. Many of us are not readily available to God for God to use us, because that means making a complete change in how we've lived our life. That means changing our identity, what we've known our lives for all along. Change is hard, change is difficult, and when we do not really appreciate what God is trying to tell us and teach us and want us to teach people in whatever capacity that may be, you don't have to teach and influence millions of people. You can literally influence the people closest to you, who's surrounding you, your closest people. And you were the gift in these people's life, and you are the gift in these people's life. But just because you are not ready to hear what the calling is for you, you are too afraid for people hating you, because you already know that you're being called, but you're pushing it, and you're pushing it because you want to be accepted. When God uses you, you start acting and walking like it. And when you change your mannerisms, when you change the way you respond to life, and when you change how you treat people, and when God shows you certain things about certain situations and about your own self that you have been doing, which you really do not want to do anymore, and that is because you want to be the best version of you, because you are tired of the hurt, you're tired of the pain, you're tired of the betrayals, you're tired of people cheating on you, attacking you, hurting you, just because you are not somebody who plays games, just because they see that you have something special in you, and they see that you have a spirit of light in you, and just because they are so immersed in being a bully and being filled with hate and having the demon control them, your spirit annoys the shit out of them. Not every God's child who has a purpose needs to fit a certain aspect of what the society deems fit for people who should believe in God and who should be allowed in church, temples, or any other place of worship. I've always been judged by people just because I do not fit the social norms of how people should look, whatever it may be, and I always speak my mind. And when you are in a place like this where you are ready to fight against anybody and everybody who's coming against you, unapologetically at that, that is the day you see the grace, the mercy, the favor that God has upon you. Because when God uses you, devil uses his children as well. And these are the exact moments when you finally give up fear, when you finally give up people pleasing just to be accepted by the society, and you finally stand in your power because you know the light that you have within you, like everybody else does, but you chose to get rid of the darkness inside you and others did not, and therefore you were chosen, and therefore you are the victim of all your haters, and they all target you, and either they do it face to face and they attack you when God gets in the way and attacks them back, because your purpose is bigger when God uses you, and now you are not fighting with people for their petty issues, but you are accomplishing something. And we start working differently, moving differently, and that's when these demon children will start attacking you in every shape and form. They can get you fired, have false reports on you, have fake accounts on you, have fake dating pages on you. So at the end of the day, you're here to uplift people. You're here to make people happy, and you're here to raise the vibrations. So why do you think God is gonna let petty people who hate you stop you from a purpose that is bigger than their existence? And they are not realizing their own purpose, and they're praising the devil over and over again. And times like this, God will let it happen. Why, you ask? Because God is also testing you. Yes, you are a God's child, and yes, you are in your purpose and you're letting God use you. God will test you, because many a times we've been in the similar situations where we've lost trust in God. We've lost faith, because as soon as something went wrong, we always prayed here and there. But when things got okay, we got away from it. We always knew we had some type of calling. We knew our spirit was always clean and clear. So even if we were surrounded with people who did really, really bad, low vibrational things, we just did not attach to them, but we hung out with them because we needed them for some reason. And so we always ignored God's voice, and therefore a lot of shit went down. And in those times we got attacked, because our spiritual strength wasn't strong, because even if God wanted to protect us, we were not accepting Him. And therefore, now when you're finally accepting God, God is definitely going to test you that do you fuck with God or not, like that. And what does accepting God mean? Accepting God is basically repenting. You also may have done wrong things to people, even if that wasn't intentional or intentional, in whatever phase in your life. As long as you repent and as long as you give it to God, and if your intentions is clear, you can't play with God. You can't run a game on God. God can see anything and everything. Things that you don't see, He sees. So whoever thinks that you can play God and move like a snake, God is not a human being. So I don't know what people think, but when you are dwindling in your faith, and if you do not really fully trust God, especially when times get rough, you still believe and you still miss those vices that you used to do, then God will put things in your path to see if you pass the test. Depending on where you are with your faith in God, it will affect you how it's supposed to affect you, because God is also trying to teach you. God will never try to hurt you. And if you are somebody who believes in God and who knows that God is good, you are giving it all up to God, then yes, you will take up the challenge, you will fight, and you will show God that you are here to stay, irrespective of whoever comes in front of you, be it your parents, your family, your friends, your lover. You will fight. How you fight is not petty. How you fight is spiritual. You let God handle your fights. You're not here, and you do not really have a mean bone in your body to attack somebody's livelihood, to take somebody's life, to hurt them through black magic, to hurt them through malice. God protects you and proves to your enemies, who you never did anything to, nor will you do anything to, as to the favor that you hold in yourself. And you also need to believe, if God has called you and if He is awakening you and using you for something that is beyond the people that you're surrounding with right now in your present life, you don't need to go out there and explain everything to everybody who is hurting you, just because they do not understand what does it mean when God uses you. They only see what they see in the reality, and for them, they operate from jealousy, they operate from ego. But scorned men, scorned women, and the worst type of people, and they will do anything and everything in their power to change the whole narrative about you, who have no intentions of doing good, of self-reflection, of what did I do wrong? Why did I turn out the way I turned out? Why can't I accept this rejection? What is it about me that this person does not like? And do I even want to be with this person? And what is the point of me malicing somebody else just because they do not want to be with us? And this is not just women, because women are notorious for doing things like this, unfortunately, of what the media shows. But a lot of men who are in a very low vibrational, toxic, feminine energy will hurt another women as well, just because a woman is not interested in them. And trust me, I've been there, because a lot of men have said a lot of things about me who I don't even know they exist, and I'm not even interested in your existence. And these are the same type of men who will talk about my life and my social media just because I am a social media person. They think that they know everything about me. Well, I do not give a shit about you, man. These are the type of people who are in their toxic femininity and toxic masculinity, and it does not really have to be only in love. Like I said, these men and these women will compete with you when you are just minding your own business. These can be absolute strangers who you do not really even care to know about, but somehow this stranger is talking to another stranger of a friend of a friend of a friend about you that never happened with you. And that's because that is what they do when the lights are off. That's what they do when nobody's watching them. And that's the double life that they live, and they pin it on you. And when they pin it on you, what do? You move on. You do not talk. Your personality, your silence, and who the fuck you are will speak for itself. And that is the difference between a person who's being used by God and a person who's used by the devil or who does not have any faith whatsoever. Because if there was somebody else in your place, they would expect for you to also malice them, because they get a high of your attention and being in fight with you in whatever way it can be. And most people who are being used by God, they don't like to be compared. They don't see anybody as competition, because at the end of the day, you are your own competition, because you're trying to be the best version of you for God and for yourself. Unfortunately, when people want to play God and when they think they are God, and when they don't think that God has any favor, mercy, grace on you, and why the fuck do you have grace or mercy on you for God? Who the hell do you think you are? When people think that way, go talk to God. Don't go fight with God. If you have a purpose, and if you don't like the purpose that another person has, and if you want to steal their gift, if you want to steal their purpose, and you're not even happy about your own destiny, you don't even know what your own purpose and your own gift is, because you've never sat with yourself for 5 minutes to understand what is life beyond what you see, because you're so involved in what the world thinks and all the material things that you have. Then stay in your lane and do not come in people's lane who are not in your lane and who are doing things for themselves. And don't you dare compare yourself to me and people like me, just because we are now dropping the vices. We've been in your shoes, and if you don't know that, go be a better version for yourself. It's funny to me, and it's absolutely pathetic when a fake person calls other real people fake. So you know what's the validity of the information that this person is bringing. This person is delusional in their head, because they can't even separate the reality from fake, because clearly they're fake and you are real, but they're calling you fake. So you must take that as a compliment, because you're not supposed to react and respond to every comment and every action that these people do just because you want to be a better version of you. And had they wanted to be a better version of themselves along with you and go on this journey, it would have been separately anyways, because self-development journey and everybody's calling is different. But if they were in a place as you, where they also want to leave aside and leave behind everything and heal, God would make sure that you guys would be together and would heal together or would come back together. Because at the end of the day, when somebody is written in your destiny, they're written, and no human being can take that away from you. Whatever journey that you are of understanding God's purpose and God using you, just make sure that you stay put and be in your path, because a lot of devil's children will be allowed by God to attack you just for it to backfire. Because if God is choosing you, using you, there is a bigger purpose that God knows. And if somebody does not understand that, then they can take it up to the Almighty. And if not, then you can focus on your own self, and you don't need to go and do the same things that people are doing for you and keep continuing that cycle, how much ever that they are trying to get your attention. And these are old ass people and young, and they will do anything in their power to get you to give up on God. Because when you give up on God, they can attack you and your protection is gone. Keep saying you've returned to senders. Don't let a hater make you feel bad about you wanting to choose your own self. Because you were born alone, you die alone. And these people who come in and leave your life, they were for a temporary reason. And this can be the closest relationship that you have. If God says somebody needs to leave your life, they need to leave your life, because God hears conversations that you don't hear. God can feel people's emotions that you don't feel, sees actions that you choose to deny to see, that you see it in your intuition and that you never see. And these are the same people who want to burn you, bury you, end you, hurt you, attack you, target you, malice you when you leave them. And you are the same person who still loves them the same when you leave them. Make it make sense. Choose God, choose people who choose God, and choose people who love you for who you are. And let God handle your haters, and let God answer to human beings that He created who have a problem with your purpose that He gifted you from birth. So the fight was never with human beings. You always knew that. Just move on with your life. Focus on yourself and keep elevating and being the best version of you. And people can see they can't touch you. We're not supposed to touch you. The term chosen is used loosely, mostly because there are a lot of blasphemers who use God's name in vain. And when people use God's name in vain, They will never accept the fact that they are blasphemous, but they are the ones who will judge everybody who does not match up to what they think a chosen one should look like. And unfortunately, God says the person that you judge, and if you are a person who badmouths somebody without even knowing them, you're not a person of God. And if you're somebody who's truly letting God use you for however long it may be, you may have started yesterday or for years, you will realize that you've always had very short-term relationships in your life. Exactly in these moments where God allows the demons and their followers to attack you, but their plans completely shatter. You already know what the hell they're doing, and God's already told you their plan, and God is already telling you how to move, when to move, and God will continue for you to do that, because if they're watching you, you're watching them too. And so they keep wandering around you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, however they're trying to attack you. You exactly know, or you at least have an inkling that this person, this place, this dude, this woman is very shady, and these are demon children who are probably being paid off by your enemies who you don't even know. Many a times people hate you without even knowing you, just by hear and say, and you become the bum of all jokes, and God allowing that is. They try to create a very negative narrative about you, not just with people you love, but in your work, your life, and everything else. They can't fuck with you spiritually, because if they fuck with you spiritually, then they know what's going to happen immediately, because you return to sender. However, they just forget that if God is protecting you in the 5D and the ancestors and the underworld and whoever is on your side, with your dark and your light energies being balanced, because at the end of the day, you're here to uplift people, you're here to make people happy, and you're here to raise the vibrations. So why do you think God is gonna let petty people who hate you stop you from a purpose that is bigger than their existence? God can show you that you are actually loved and that you're actually protected. And you also need to understand that you are not a human being with a spirit that most of these people carry. When they wrong you, you're not here to get even. You're not here to look at things that you can do to attack them, because you have a life, you have things to achieve in life. If something didn't work out, well, it didn't work out for you and you're out. But unfortunately, there are a lot of men and a lot of women who can't take rejection. This does not have to be only in love. God forbid if they ever try to touch you. I pray to God for you, for myself, that every evil eye, that every evil tongue, that every evil actions be rebuked and stopped and returned back to them, and all that they wish upon you, all that they wish upon me, and all that they wish upon God's children and my brothers and my sisters. I pray to God that it is all returned and backfired to sender, multiplied in 3D and in 5D. You need to protect yourself when you clearly know that you are now being used by God. And you will know when you are in a path of following God, because it'll automatically become very lonely, but you're alone. You're not lonely, and that is the difference. And that's when you know that you absolutely enjoy isolation. And many a times people think that by isolating you, they can call you a loner and you will come running, begging back, which you must have done. But this time, when you're finally choosing God, you like the fact that you do not have that voice in your ear, you do not have their presence around you, you do not have their petty behavior, their passive aggressive comments. That energy is not around you. And you finally start finding versions of you that you didn't even know existed. And these are top class versions of you. People on the outside will have a lot of things to say when you isolate yourself. And honestly, choosing God is one of the most difficult things that one can do in a lifetime, because it is really, really difficult to forget our old life and people who did not have the best interest for us. We still love them until we do not love them anymore, nor do we hate them. They are just mere strangers, and their existence does not really affect. And these are the same people who are so possessive, stuck up, obsessive, and they're so prideful because never heard or know by anybody. And they always thought that you, just because you have a light in you, you must be a pushover. And in some cases, when pushovers are not pushovers anymore, you become the asshole or the bitch. and these people play victims, and these people I do not respect, and I do not want to waste another minute even talking about these people. And honestly, it's on you to make that first decision as well. If somebody does not even have the mental intelligence to understand what elevation means, what 5D means, what the fuck are you doing sitting there with this human being? And why are you surrounded by these individuals just because you do not want to be alone? You've been in this place one too many times, and you go through the same cycles, and every time you go through a cycle, you go back to God, forgiveness, and asking for mercy. And God gives you favor and God gives you mercy because God sees your heart. Your heart is pure, and that's the only reason why you're getting all these grace and favors from God. People with a bad heart, with a bad spirit, can never be God's children, and that's what they need to understand. And the fact that you are doing bad things and you're involved in a bad environment, but your heart is clean, your heart is pure, that's what is needed for you to understand who you are and take that first step towards God using you. And God wants you to know that He is so proud of you for you to choose this path, even if it was so difficult. And nobody ever knows how did you wake up that next morning when you had a breakdown the previous night. How did you face all the truth that was coming that you need to see and experience for yourself from the same people that you never thought would hurt you in a certain kind of way. And these are the same people who want to play the victim just because you caught their bluff. That is pathetic. And God is proud of you for you to see beyond your hurt, your pain, and to finally give it to God. And even when you did not see what comes next, when it was dark, you still let it go. And God will reward you. And God will push you towards your blessings even when you do not see it. And you will be blessed abundantly. I love you.